This is a clip from our stream with Alistair Chapman on his first 6 months of using the FX9 camera, particularly the new picture profile S-Cinetone. We asked him to explain some of the differences between the new profile and the Rec 709 profiles that we're all used to. Remember, you can't judge the quality too much of the footage. What you're looking at is a Skype call from Alistair that's then gone onto our stream, then been captured back and recorded, and then re-edited and re-uploaded. So it's gone through far too many things that damage the quality and re-encoding to really judge the quality from the camera. But I think it's quite a nice explanation from Alistair on what makes S-Cinetone that little bit different and such a nice picture profile to work with.
Let's have a look at the output of the camera here. And this is S-Cinetone. Now, S-Cinetone is a variable contrast gamma curve. This is really interesting. So if I now just bring my exposure down, I'm going to put in a bit more ND to do that. The picture becomes darker, but it also becomes more contrasty. So I'm not sure how this is looking on the feed, just looking at the feed. So that's low exposure. It's really contrasty. If you look at the girl's hair, the blacks are really deep. And then when I bring the exposure up just a little bit, and the ND is going to drop out. Hang on. So let's do this with the iris instead. So let's come back down. So if we do something similar here, so at this exposure here, contrasty, yet a little bit darker. But as I come up in exposure, not only does it get brighter, but it gets flatter. See, the blonde girl's face in particular is now much flatter here at this exposure. And if I just come down 1/3 of a stop, 2/3 of a stop, much more contrasty. And this is one of the things about this S-Cinetone curve is you can choose how contrasty your picture is while you're shooting, just by the small alterations in exposure. And that just gives you a lot more flexibility. So you can look at a shot and then get the contrast that you want for that scene, as opposed to being fixed or tied to one contrast for every shot.
That's also helping in the background a little bit do what I was just talking about there of it always, even if I mess up my exposure slightly, it always still seems to look quite good. And I guess that is exactly why, do you think?
Well, yes, it really does help. So if you do overexpose the camera, I think if I bring the camera up, you can leave me there. I think that's fine. So as I do overexpose it, it just basically, yeah, sure, it's overexposed there. I'm very over. But if I'm a little bit overexposed, say something like there, the highlights just become flatter. It doesn't have that conventional gamma look. I mean, if we do quickly go to the paint settings here, and if I do change the gamma curve from the original S-Cinetone gamma to Rec 709, straight away we have that on the blonde girl's forehead, there is that just splodge of white that's just shouts out video camera to you. It just looks horrible. And even I'm coming down,
got darker as well.
Yeah. So even if I come back down in exposure, even here, it has that video look to it that's just not nice. Even that's not really overexposed, but it doesn't look great. And we go back to the S-Cinetone curve, and it just looks nicer straight away. So it's a really easy curve to work with. It just makes life so easy, and it looks nice, of course, which is the most important thing.